Closed captioning is brought to you by the Sam Bernstein Law Firm. Covering all of the Flint Bay region, Fox 66 News at 10 starts right now.
And happening right now, President Trump is preparing to speak at a campaign rally in Phoenix, Arizona. He is expected to speak in a matter of minutes at the Phoenix Convention Center. This is a live look outside of the venue right now, where protests have been going on for hours. The rally comes just a day after last night's address to the nation, where he spoke on his plan for Afghanistan. Now, the president is visiting a state that he won in the 2016 election, yet he's facing crowds divided on how they view his time in office. Fox 66's Dave Bondi has more on the drama leading up to tonight's rally.
President Trump hit the road Tuesday. First stop, Yuma, Arizona, for a tour of a U.S. Customs and Border Protection facility and a meet and greet with Marines stationed there, before heading to Phoenix for a campaign rally where some of the president's supporters waited for hours in more than 100-degree heat. But many have been bracing for the president's visit, including the Democratic mayor of Phoenix.
This is not the right time for this type of a rally.
All because 1 week ago, President Trump said this about the white nationalist violence in Charlottesville, Virginia.
You look at both sides. I think there's blame on both sides.
Trump has also traded criticism with Arizona's Republican senators John McCain and Jeff Flake. Some pundits wonder if the president will endorse a 2018 challenger to Flake at the rally. The administration hopes the president's visit will show his hardline immigration stance works.
What the American people are going to hear tonight is a president who's completely focused on an agenda to move this country forward.
A president ready to rally a community despite their divide over whether he should be there at all. Dave Bondi, Fox 66 News.
And once again, we're going back live to the podium now, where the president will be delivering his speech in just a matter of moments right now. You can see the vice president at the podium. We will be following this story for you throughout the newscast and bring you updates, if necessary, during Fox 66 News at 10. The state medical marijuana board may shut down all Michigan dispensaries in the near future. Fox 66's Amanda Chodnicki spoke with a number of people who were present at the board's August 21st meeting about what they took away from that proceeding. She's in the studio now. Amanda?
Bill, I spoke to several people who attended the state medical marijuana board meeting in Lansing, and the idea that all the state dispensaries could shut down has them worried about what it could mean for their health.
It was certainly packed. When I arrived, I had to sit all the way in the last row.
Stephen Monty says there was a lot of support for dispensaries at the state medical marijuana board's Monday meeting.
The overwhelming majority of the public comment was, advocating for the patients need access to the dispensaries.
This comes after, he says, board member Donald Bailey made a motion stating if dispensaries didn't close by September 15th, they would not be eligible for licensure under the new dispensary licensing system that will be put in place on December 15th. Well, the board didn't make a decision on the proposal, citing a need for more information. Members of the Cannabis Caucus say even with no action, it's important to be prepared for dispensaries to close.
We're present in meetings regarding licensure and the evolution of the law, but people who are just patients who are affected by this have no idea what's coming down the pipeline, and it's going to be very harsh.
It's not the patients that are being put first, and that's what needs to happen. And you have to allow continual access to their medicine for that to happen. So until the state has licensed alternatives to provide the medicine that the patients need, they should not shut down the existing dispensaries.
Without a dispensary to go to, Cannabis Caucus members say it could be dangerous for those who can't legally get medical marijuana elsewhere.
If they're somebody who has seizures, for instance, and they don't have access to CBD oil, that means that they're going to have more seizures more frequently. And they depend on these dispensaries. So without them having access, there's going to be a lapse. And for some people, that means harm.
One big question is how the state would go about closing every single dispensary, since it would be a huge undertaking for law enforcement. I reached out to Jason Moon, a rep with the Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, asking a number of questions. All he could tell me was they plan to review the recommendation and discussion from the board and consult with the state attorney general's office. He says, however, they're working to schedule a meeting before September 15th to hopefully make a decision. So make sure you stay here with Fox 60 News for more updates. For now, live in the studio, Amanda Chodnicki, Fox 66 News.
All right, Amanda, thanks. Let's take a look outside right now using our Fox 66 Skynet camera in downtown Bay City. With your first look at the forecast right now, here's Chief Meteorologist Jamie Cagle. A lot drier out there right now, Jamie.
Oh, yes. The air is going to feel a lot drier. There's a very different feel to the atmosphere right now. And if you follow me on Facebook, you know that I'm talking about going from summer to fall literally in 24 hours. We're going to take a look at some of the graphics here that kind of reinforce that idea. First of all, clear and quiet on our satellite and radar. Clear skies overhead. We are not tracking any rainfall, but the temperatures down into the 60s, and that doesn't look too shocking, right? Well, we have dropped the temperature 15 to 20 degrees in nearly every neighborhood across the area in the past 24 hours. And if that's not enough, the dew points are down in the 50s, which feels fantastic. But the drop has been close to 20 degrees, and that's what makes it feel like it went from summer to fall in a matter of 24 hours. And you'll see the 7-day forecast that also reinforces this idea, at least for a little while. Mid to low 50s overnight. I'll have the rest of the numbers in just a few minutes.
A teenager accused of stabbing his own grandmother to death is found dead on the railroad tracks in downtown Holly. It was early this morning when the manhunt started for who many believe to be her grandson, 15-year-old Stephen Wilkerson. Stephanie Parkinson has been following this developing story throughout the day for us and shows us how the search ended.
The helicopter was going by overhead. The police were investigating, going up and down the tracks.
It's a scene Doug Perry isn't used to at his quiet shop just off the main corridor in quaint downtown Holly. Right next to his shop is where the chase ended for 15-year-old murder suspect Stephen Wilkerson. According to the Oakland County Sheriff's Department, Wilkerson's body was found on the railroad tracks around 10:30 a.m., and it appears he was hit by a train.
I figured they either had the guy cornered or that they caught him.
The search for Wilkerson started after a 911 call at around 5:30 in the morning. According to the Oakland County Sheriff, a man called saying his son left a note that he was going to kill his grandmother. Then, a 65-year-old woman was found in her bedroom dead at her Springfield Township home. Investigators say with multiple stab wounds that appear to have come from a kitchen knife. Wilkerson allegedly then stole her car and took off.
Quite a lot of resources involved down here in a short period of time, until we came to this end.
So what brought all the investigators into downtown Holly is when one of the officers found the teen's car parked on the other side of that row of buildings. Then officers were all over downtown with K-9 units looking for this teenager. Eventually that search ending when they got to the railroad tracks.
One of the sheriff investigators actually found the individual on the railroad tracks.
It's such a total waste, when you think about it, because of the ages involved. She was young, he was young.
Nice, safe, peaceful place to be. But, in this world, it doesn't matter where you are.
In Holly, Stephanie Parkinson, Fox 66 News.
And for the latest information on this story and others, don't forget to download our Fox 66 News app. Just search for Fox 66. It's in the App Store or the Google Play Store. A Navy official says some bodies have now been found in a flooded compartment of the USS John S. McCain. And we're also learning that one of the 10 sailors reported missing has ties to Michigan. The Royal Malaysian Navy has located one body at sea, and officials are working to determine if it is one of the 10 missing sailors. Back here at home, April Brandon says her 22-year-old son, Ken Smith, is among the 10 sailors reported missing. Smith grew up in Oakland County before moving to Virginia as a teenager. Brandon says her son is a great kid, among many family members who served in the Navy.
Oh, I just want to be over there searching. We're searching in every country surrounding Singapore is in the search and rescue as well.
No word yet on the identity of the bodies found. The Navy destroyer collided with an oil tanker early Monday morning in waters off of Singapore. Hundreds of new manufacturing jobs are now one step closer to coming to Genesee County. This is an update to a story we first brought you last month. The Lear Corporation is proposing to build a new plant in the city of Flint. Today, the project cleared one major hurdle. Fox 66's Drew Moore brings us more on this developing story from Flint.
This is what's left of Buick City. When it closed, it took thousands of jobs and the hopes of many people here in Flint down with it. Now, the Lear Corporation hopes to build a plant right here on this site, and the state of Michigan is pitching in to make sure that plan is one step closer to reality.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
With that vote, the state of Michigan approving more than $4 million in tax credits to help the Lear Corporation do this.
We're bringing 435 new jobs, total employment 600 jobs, plus the salary that's going to staff, which is approximately 50 people.
Those 435 new employees will eventually work at a brand new $29 million, 150,000 square foot manufacturing facility near Hamilton Road on the abandoned Buick City site.
When we walked onto the property of Buick City, we felt something there, and we really said, how do we get back to it?
Workers will be making seats for cars and trucks made by General Motors. For a city which has become accustomed to losing more jobs than it gains, this was welcome news.
We've been working on this for months and months, and this is something that's great for the city of Flint and something we knew we needed to have. We've talked about having a water crisis and an infrastructure crisis, but we've had an economic development crisis in the city of Flint, and we were moving things forward before the water crisis hit, and now we're on the road to recovery.
It's a really good fit for Genesee County and Flint. This new development could have went to Mexico.
Those are the things that we need to show people, is that we are investing in our city and things are happening and we are moving forward, and this was a big one for us.
Many believe the decision by the state of Michigan today was the last hurdle the Lear Corporation was waiting for in order to officially announce the project here on Buick City. We're expecting the official announcement to come within the next few days. If all goes well, shovels should be in the ground here on this site by January. The entire project should take about 18 months to complete. Reporting from Flint, Drew Moore, Fox 66 News.
Andrew also tells us that the city of Flint will also be pitching in financially to make this deal happen. The city is offering a 50% tax abatement to the company. City Council is set to take up that request tomorrow evening. Water concerns in Bay County. Next on Fox 66 News at 10, a look at why a special meeting was held tonight in Monitor Township. And a major announcement for golf fans in Genesee County. What's coming back to Warwick Hills in Grand Blanc Township and when?
Fox 66 News at 10 is sponsored in part by Art Sample Furniture, Holland Heating, and Approved Cash.
At Fegis Interiors in Saginaw, comfort is on sale. Here's your chance to get custom upholstery at prices that might surprise you. Sofas start at just $1,098 and sectionals at $2,288. All meticulously hand-tailored in the Fegis tradition. See Stickley, American Leather, Row, and more. All available in your choice of over 1,000 fabrics and leathers. Up to 48 months interest-free. And our complimentary in-home design service. At Fegis Interiors in Saginaw. Upscale home furnishings at down-to-earth prices.
If you're looking for a low payment without having to put a ton of money down, head to Richardson Chevrolet Buick in Standish.
With a total of only $900 down, drive a loaded $44,000 four-wheel drive Silverado for just $198 per month. How about a Chevy Traverse with all kinds of options like custom wheels, heated seats, rear backup camera, and more for only $189 per month? Only $900 total is all you need to drive a four-wheel drive Silverado for $198, or a Traverse with lots of options for $189 per month. That's Richardson Chevrolet Buick on US 23 in Standish.
Right now at Menards, get an 11% rebate on everything, even sale prices. Get clean, purified water right at the faucet with a quick twist, 3-stage reverse osmosis system. Right now, only $97.01 after rebate. This 34,000 grain unit removes hardness for spot-free dishes and whiter clothes. Right now, just $328.41 after rebate. Stop waiting and start saving with an 11% rebate on everything, even sale prices, now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Accidents happen every day, ruining lives and shattering dreams. Have you been injured in a car crash, a hit and run, a dog bite, or what about a slip and fall? Then you'll need someone who can pick up the pieces. I'm Sam Elia.
And I'm Adam Ponto.
We'll fight for what you deserve, no matter how.
No matter when.
And no matter what. Call the law firm of Elia and Ponto today, 855-75-BP-LAW. We'll fight for what you deserve.
Like Wallside, when you've been in business for 73 years, you learn a thing or two.
We've learned the job is not done until you say it's done.
Wallside stands behind their product. Wallside stands behind their sales reps and their installers, and we make sure that we do it right.
Our 73rd anniversary sale ends Thursday. Get every second window free, including sliders, casements, and double hungs. Plus no interest till Labor Day 2022. No down payment. Wallside. Call 1-800-521-7800.
I'm Mike Morse. Thank you for making us the most recommended law firm for auto accidents. It's an honor, it's a privilege, and I'd love to win for you too. Call 855-MIKE-WINS.
Mark your calendars. The Fox 66 Fall Festival is back September 16th.
This is Fox 66 News at 10.
A special meeting was held in Bay County today where residents could address water concerns with state representatives. But this water town hall was different from what we've seen recently because it was primarily about farming, not drinking water. Residents heard from the Michigan Environmental Council and the Michigan Agribusiness Association about how safe their water is from source to tap topics, including different issues that can affect water quality, to how climate can change their water. As the Democratic Vice Chair of the House Agricultural Committee, Representative Brian Elder, says, having meetings like these are especially helpful to local farmers.
Monitor Township is an agricultural township, so we grow a lot of corn, sugar beets, and beans here. And it's important to note that the ag community is just as concerned about water issues as everyone else. The entire county is now on a new water system. We get excellent water, but still we need to know what's going on with our soil and how that affects the environment overall.
Now, they're having town hall meetings like this all over the state. Representative Elder hopes the meetings help residents as they prepare for fall crops.
Now, your certified Fox 66 Storm Ready forecast.
Good evening, Mid-Michigan. Well, we have been feeling the humidity drop today. The temperatures a bit cooler as well, and they're going to stay on the cool side of average. Let's take a look outside. First of all, satellite and radar. And we do have mostly clear skies. Still a little bit of cloud cover sneaking in from the northwest, but we're not too concerned about any showers for the overnight hours. But as we get into tomorrow, we may still find a couple of light showers trying to come in from the northwest, primarily affecting our northern counties. Some forecast models are showing that a couple of those showers may drop a little further south, getting into our central counties as well. High pressure will begin to roll in as we get closer to Friday and really bring an end to any chance of rainfall. But right now to the futurecast, you'll see that we stay mostly clear for tonight. A couple of those showers still trying to come in tomorrow morning from the northwest direction. Once we get into the afternoon, a few models are trying to bring a couple of light showers through the area. I think overall, rain chances are still very low for tomorrow, but a few isolated showers drifting through certainly can't be ruled out. The skies will clear out tomorrow evening. We will hold on to these cool temperatures for some time. Let's take a look now at your MoCast for tomorrow. I think even into the afternoon, dodging a couple of passing showers really shouldn't be too much to impede any outdoor activities you might have. But into the morning and the evening hours, we're looking at mostly clear skies, and the humidity stays very, very low for the rest of the week, right into the weekend. And even into next week, it stays very low. And you can always tell you have low humidity when you have some low overnight temperatures. We're not back to normal till next Monday night into Tuesday morning. That is a stretch of some very dry air. In fact, daytime highs upper 60s and low 70s. Those northwest winds will try to bring us a couple of showers for Wednesday and Thursday, but high pressure really takes hold Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The numbers bounce back just a little bit, still below average, but not terrible. We'll get back to the mid 70s next Monday and Tuesday. Still a low chance at showers there. That's a look at your Storm Ready weather forecast.
Well, it's a good time to check into the burst gallery right now. This photo coming from Santana in Burt. It's a good shot of the storms rolling through Saginaw County earlier today, and we'd love to see your posts and videos as well. Download our Fox 66 News app and just click on See It, Send It, or you can share them online at our website, WSMH.com. It is a very exciting time to be a golf fan in Mid-Michigan. For the first time since 2009, a PGA event will be returning to Warwick Hills Country Club in Grand Blanc Township. Sports anchor Gina Trotman has more on the big announcement this afternoon by the PGA Tour champions and LA Financial.
Bill, it'll be called the Ally Challenge and will debut September 10th of 2018. The tournament will feature a $2 million purse with a 3-year agreement to Warwick Hills through 2020. This course is well equipped for this type of event, and people are happy to see the return of professional golf to Warwick Hills. World Golf Hall of Fame member Mark O'Mara was among the speakers at today's announcement. He made 18 career starts at Warwick Hills and said it is incredible to return to the greater Flint area. As he and other pros are thrilled to be back in Grand Blanc, the excitement spans from golfers to fans and from young to old.
Just looking up to them. Yeah. And just watching them play will give you good tips on golf.
The fans, the volunteers and the fans and the membership here, really supported the players immensely, and it made them feel very welcome. So that's why the players always came back and supported this event.
Keep it right here with Fox 66 News. I'll have more on the Ally Challenge and how Warwick Hills will be transforming their course in preparation for the Champions Tour stop. Those details coming up in sports. For now, Gina Trotman, Fox 66.
Hey, Gina, we'll see you in a little bit. College freshmen across the country are learning now how to balance their financial wants with their needs this fall.
You still want to have a social life, so think about what you're doing on the weekend.
Still ahead on Fox 66 News at 10 tonight, consumer reporter Jennifer Prophet breaks down money-saving tips for first-time college students.
Fox 66 News at 10 ticker is sponsored in part by Godwin's Furniture.
Jeeps, Rams, and Pacificas cost less at Randy Wise. The summer clearance event going on now at Randy Wise, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Clio. You'll find over 200 new Jeeps, Rams, and Pacificas to choose from.
Make the wise choice.
The biggest mistake you can make after an accident is to try to take on the insurance company yourself. They only get paid when you don't. And that's why they delay, deny, defend. We are there to represent your best interests. That's the Bernstein advantage.
At Michigan Truck Spring, we specialize in repairs for light, medium, and heavy-duty trucks, trailers, motorhomes, and agricultural equipment. We have 17 service bays, late-night hours, and a full inventory of parts to get your vehicle back in service quickly. Our team is trained in complete vehicle service, including suspension and brake repairs, alignments, drive shafts, clutches, federal inspections, and more. Quality parts and service at competitive prices for over 40 years. Michigan Truck Spring, just off I-75 and M81 in Saginaw.
With the Xfinity Best Offer of the Year, you just can't miss. You get epic internet and Wi-Fi. X1 with built-in Netflix. And when you add Xfinity Mobile, you get up to 5 lines. Dude, perfect.
Get our best offer of the year on the X1 Triple Play with X1 DVR free for a year. Plus, ask how to add Xfinity Mobile for $200 back. Click, call, or visit us today.
Shop early and save now during the pre-Labor Day sale at Martin Chevrolet in Saginaw. Choose from a super selection of award-winning cars and trucks at below GM employee pricing. Get a new Chevy Equinox starting from just $70 a month, or step up to a full-size Chevy Traverse from just $120 a month. New Silverado double cabs for as little as $169 a month. The biggest sales event of the season is happening right now at Martin Chevrolet on Gratiot Road in Saginaw.
Our client was on her way home from work when she was hit by a bus. She suffered major injuries. We fought in court and won a $3.495 million judgment. Get the Bernstein advantage. Call 1-800-CALL-SAM today.
Wise customers always get their vehicles serviced at a dealer they can trust. At the Randy Wise Awesome Mall, we service all makes and models and offer a convenient pickup and drop-off service. The Randy Wise Awesome Mall on the corner of Dutcher and Lennon in Flint.
And turning the page now to your Tuesday Profit Report. Students across the country are making the leap from high school to college this week. And while tuition payments might be on their minds, keeping their personal finances under control could be and should be as well. Consumer reporter Jennifer Prophet in the house tonight to show us how to navigate your first year on your own. You remember your first year, right?
Oh my gosh, it can be some scary stuff, especially if mom and dad have been paying for your food, your housing, and everything that goes with it. This semester could be a real shock unless you take a few minutes to sit down and create a very basic budget.
Swipe, and then by the end of the month, or you have nothing in there, and then you're left hanging.
Saginaw Valley State University senior Devontae Marcellus says that's a common freshman mistake that's easily avoided.
I mean, we have so many apps on our cell phone that you could pull up, and then just keep track of things you're spending.
One of the things that I share with incoming students is the importance of budgeting, which is a scary word for a lot of them.
But if you can think of a budget as empowering instead of frightening, Associate Dean of Student Life and Leadership Brian Ryan Craner says you'll be on the right track. Let's break it down. First, start with your food. All freshmen living on campus at SVSU are required to pay for a meal plan.
And that's a good way to be able to say, you know, you have this amount, which break it down by the week, by the day, and you can see how much you can spend, how much you can use in that given amount of time.
Every plan is different. If yours is unlimited, all your food is covered. If you have a preset amount of money, you'll need to budget a little bit for extra snacks and meals. And don't forget,
you still want to have a social life. So think about what you're doing on the weekend, movies and going out with friends and that kind of thing.
Next, you'll need some basic cleaning supplies for your dorm. That's stuff Mom and Dad might have taken care of until now.
Toilet paper. I mean, things that if you're living on campus, those things cost money, and they're things that you haven't thought of in the past.
Last, pay attention to what's happening on campus. You might find some freebies, like free movie nights.
So you don't have to spend a ton of money and go out to the theaters. There's free popcorn, so it's not another $12 for a bucket of popcorn.
And maybe before your parents leave you on your own, you can ask them for one more big favor.
Go grocery shopping before they leave after you move in. It's my best advice.
It's good advice. So if you'll be commuting to campus this year, you're probably spending more money on gas than you were in high school. So be sure to set aside just a little bit of cash for that.
For two people who've both been down that road, don't rule out the opportunity to look for other possible sources of income.
Yeah,
right?
If you can take on a side job, working on campus or something, that could really help cushion the blow of these brand new expenses that are going to come flying at you.
Talk about expenses. There is one huge one that you're going to get your first day of college.
Oh my gosh,
right?
Don't be shocked. So staying in this back to school college theme, tomorrow we're talking about textbooks. They cost hundreds of dollars, but we compare prices and show you how to get your books at rock bottom prices.
Well, an investigation is underway in a small Saginaw County community. Why the village of St. Charles is looking for answers right after the break.
Fox 66 News at 10 is sponsored in part by the Mike Morse Law Firm.
Welcome to Toyota's National Clearance Event.
We love adventure and we want something safe.
RAV4 comes with Toyota Safety Sense Standard.
Just imagine the things we'll see. Here we go. Oh, look at the zebras.
Oh, look at those two rhinos. Oh.
Are they?
Maybe the beach.
Love the beach.
Get up to $2,500 cash back on an adventurous 2017 RAV4. 0 for 72 plus $500 bonus cash on a RAV4 LE. Or lease it for $179 a month.
Enjoy the sights.
Toyota, let's go places.
The Ford Summer Sales Event is in full swing. Get 0% for 72 months, plus an additional $1,000 on top of your trade-in from America's best-selling brand. Now lease a Ford Edge for just $189 a month. That's only $189 a month during the Ford Summer Sales Event at your neighborhood Michigan Ford dealer.
Your life is in a state of constant motion, and only Spectrum can help you make the most of every moment. With Spectrum, you'll get the best in TV with a crystal clear picture and sound, plus more free HD than ever before. Just $29.99 a month. Call 844-675-2999. Then enjoy smoother surfing, streaming, and gaming with the fastest internet starting speeds, 60 megabits per second, with no data caps and a free modem. Just $29.99 a month. And when a picture or post can't say it all, get unlimited nationwide calling, plus unlimited calling to Canada, Mexico, and more with no added taxes or fees. Call 844-675-2999. Make the most of every moment with Spectrum TV, Internet, and Voice. Just $29.99 a month each with no contracts and our 30-day money-back guarantee. Call 844-675-2999. Spectrum, redefining what a cable company can be.
If you're 16 to 24 years old, Flint Genesee Job Corps may be the perfect place to complete your education and start your career. We offer hands-on career technical training as well as academic training for students looking to complete their high school credits or earn their GED. Residential housing, on-the-job training, and a bi-weekly living allowance are also provided. And for single parents, we have childcare services and separate apartment-style dormitories available for your convenience. For more information, contact Flint Genesee Job Corps today.
The Ford Summer Sales Event is in full swing. Get 0% for 60 months plus an additional $1,000 on top of your trade-in from America's best-selling brand. Now lease a Ford F-150 for just $219 a month. That's only $219 during the Ford Summer Sales Event at your neighborhood Michigan Ford dealer.
Well,
it's back to school time and you think in college the tuition and dorm room cost a lot, wait till you get that bill for the textbooks.
That's right. How can you save money on those textbooks?
Yeah, that big price tag falls on you harder than the book itself. That's on the next Fox 66 Mornings. We'll all start early at 7 a.m.
This is Fox 66 News at 10.
Well, the village of St. Charles is looking for answers tonight after the Saginaw County Sheriff removed his deputies from the building at the start of this month because a deputy got sick. Years ago, the area housed underground gas tanks, and the village manager says there could be leftover contamination. As Fox 66's Jasmine Durham reports tonight, an environmental company is now doing some testing.
Although there have been no confirmed health cases here at the village of St. Charles, village manager Matthew Lane says he's having soil and water tests done to address the recent concerns.
The sheriff decided to pull his deputies out over health concerns for one of his employees, and that was the third in a line of police officers that had become sick.
Lane says there used to be two 1,000-gallon gasoline tanks under the ground, and they were removed in 1992. But recent health concerns brought new interest to the issue.
It is a big concern only because there's a lot of questions that I don't have the answers to. And that's my main focus right now, is getting the answers to, what exactly we have here.
The latest tests were done in 2015, but recently St. Charles police officers have noticed a sewage-type smell coming from the drain. Now AKP Peerless is the company that's hoping to give the village the answers they've been looking for.
We're collecting samples of both soil and groundwater to use. We'll send that off to a lab for analysis, and that'll help us delineate to find out just the extent, how far out this goes, and how strong and how impacted the soil is right up next to the building.
Lane says they plan to keep it business as usual until they're told otherwise. The test results will take about 2 weeks to complete. In St. Charles, Jasmine Durham, Fox 66 News.
With the start of school in just 2 weeks, students and parents at 3 Saginaw County schools feel as if they have been given a second chance. The schools were all slated to close, but were saved when the state and the districts reached a deal. Fox 66 anchor Dave Bondi in the studio tonight with what parents are saying about this opportunity. Dave?
Yeah, Saginaw High School, Jesse Loomis Academy, and Atkins Elementary in the Bridgeport Spalding School District were all on the chopping block. Tonight, parents and students from some of those schools taking part in a back-to-school bash. This is the 4th annual back-to-school bash at the First United Methodist Church. Now, this was open to all students in Saginaw County and beyond. School supplies, gift cards, and prizes were all given away. Tonight's event was so popular, they even ran out of backpacks. Now, we talked to several parents who are happy, very happy, that the districts were able to work it out with the state and keep the 3 schools open.
I think it's very important for the schools to stay open. I do know that over 70% of Saginaw is single-family household, and so if you're going to close the schools, it's really going to be difficult for single families to get their children to school.
Now, as part of the agreement to keep the schools open, all 3 schools must show signs of academic improvement or, once again, face the possibility of closure. Dave Bondi, Fox 66 News.
Also tonight, Saginaw Valley State University has approved a new 3-year contract with the school's faculty association. SVSU's Board of Control approved the contract at tonight's special meeting. Faculty members that are part of the bargaining union will get a 2% salary increase in the upcoming school year and 1.9% in each of the 2 following years. FEMA and home improvement stores have come together to help Midland County flood victims. Starting today, FEMA advisors are at Gilroy's hardware store on Jefferson Avenue in Midland. They're giving out free information and tips on how to make homes stronger and safer.
Encourage everybody to preparedness. It's such an important thing, prepare for future events. So especially homeowners, renters, to prepare just the basics, especially enough for 2 or 3 days to at least to have ready for any type of events. Homeowners for flooding.
If you are not able to make it to Gilroy's today, they will be there through Saturday from 8 to 4:30 to help out residents. A traffic alert for drivers in Genesee County. Tomorrow, road crews will be resurfacing Clio Road between Carpenter and Coldwater in Mount Morris Township, just north of Flint. Work will take place on 2 inside lanes from 7 to 7 tomorrow. The road will remain open. Across the state tonight, the man known as White Boy Rick has been released from prison in Michigan. Rick Wershey was turned over to federal authorities today, 5 weeks after being granted parole. He was the longest-serving nonviolent criminal in the state, sentenced for drug crimes nearly 30 years ago. Wershey now headed to Florida to serve out a sentence there for racketeering charges. He could be there for more than 2 years. In southeast Michigan, a county prosecutor says no charges will be filed in a deadly pileup that occurred on I-96 last December. 53 vehicles were involved in the pileup outside of Fowlerville in Livingston County. 3 people died. The prosecutor says there wasn't enough evidence to file charges. Factors in the crash included wintry weather and driving too fast for conditions. New research from Temple University shows just a few driverless vehicles on the road could cut down on traffic pileups. The new study comes as researchers in Michigan continue to test autonomous vehicle technology. Fox 66 political reporter Nick Minock brings us to Ann Arbor tonight, where lawmakers are trying to make Michigan a leader in the new tech industry.
This looks like a real city, but it's not. The mailbox is fake, and so are all the buildings. Right now, you're inside M-City at the University of Michigan. This is where driverless technology is being developed and researched. And today, lawmakers got an up-close look at the new technology. Just like humans, this driverless car needs eyes and ears to navigate. To test and improve the tech, the University of Michigan and its partners built this testing facility that features intersections, storefronts, and city streets. Dozens of car makers are conducting research here, paving the way for Michigan to become a leader in self-driving technology.
There are other folks in the Silicon Valley especially who are doing some good work too. For a while it seemed like it was Michigan versus California.
Michigan lawmakers toured M-City to learn how to keep Michigan on the forefront of autonomous cars.
Ultimately, this leads to more jobs. This leads to more young people, our brightest and best, our talented folks staying in Michigan, and that's good for our economy.
House Transportation Chair Tristan Cole says he doesn't want lawmakers to slow down development.
We want to make sure that we don't pass policies that are going to impede progress when it comes to automated technologies.
State lawmakers passed laws allowing testing on public roads, including self-driving vehicles that have no steering wheels. Whether you're ready or not, the technology is here, and lawmakers from both parties say it's a matter of allowing it to happen.
And it's going to come with a lot of questions, a lot of debate, a lot of regulation, because we want safety to be the primary focus on why we're doing this.
As some Michigan roads are being repaired, new technology is being put in underneath some of those roads to prepare for self-driving cars. Lawmakers say they're already preparing for the future. In Ann Arbor, Nick Minock, back to you.
Well, we'll have a look outside right now with our Fox 66 Skynet cam. This time we're looking into downtown Mount Pleasant. Let's put things into high gear right now. Head over to Jamie Cagle with your neighborhood forecast. Jamie.
Well, good evening, Mid-Michigan. Yes, we're going to see a little bit of cloud cover coming by tonight, but rain chances have certainly dropped off. We'll talk about some rain chances, though, as we look to the next couple of days. And the numbers in that 7-day forecast may have you thinking a little more fall than summer. Right now, though, things are looking great outside. As we took a look at the bigger picture, still the northwest winds may bring in a few showers tomorrow. That is certainly a possibility for our northern counties, and there is a low chance that they're going to reach the central and southern counties. And then finally, as we get to Friday, high pressure takes control and the weather pattern just turns absolutely beautiful around here. Here's your futurecast for the rest of the night. Again, a mostly clear sky tomorrow morning. We'll be looking to our northern counties up into Roscommon County, Ogama County direction, even Clare County, possibly picking up a few light showers into the afternoon. You can see how this model tries to bring them through the rest of mid-Michigan. I think overall chances are low, but again, would not be surprised if a few of us are dodging a couple of light showers under a mix of sun and clouds for the afternoon. Skies clear out again Thursday night. We'll do this over Thursday afternoon and then finally get to Friday, and it's looking absolutely beautiful. But the numbers, we're going to try to get into the 70s for tomorrow. There will be some upper 60s for highs in our northern counties, but many of us may squeak out a 71, 72, maybe a 73. As you take a look at Flint's planner there from 2 to 5 o'clock, somewhere in those low 70s, a mix of sun and clouds overhead, and the numbers will drop very quickly as we get closer and closer to those evening hours. About 66 at your 7 o'clock hour, down to about 60 at 9 o'clock. So we are definitely going to feel a little chill in the air. There's a look at the numbers for the next couple of days. A high of only about 68 on your Thursday. Friday, we're going to finally get back into the 70s. Hold on to those mid-70s for a stretch there. Overnight lows start to come up. That's the dew point coming up, but certainly dew points in the 50s. Still very pleasant outside and mainly dry as we get to Monday and Tuesday. So again, low chances of rain in there. Also a feel of fall in your 7-day forecast. That's your storm-ready weather forecast.
President Trump plans to send more boots on the ground to Afghanistan, but he vowed to make changes to the current strategy there. But what does it mean for the plan moving forward? Fox 66 national correspondent Christine Frizzell takes a closer look.
We are not nation building again. We are killing terrorists.
President Trump Monday drawing a line of demarcation of what the mission is and is not. But what does it really mean?
I think it means a rejection of the over-promising. In the post-9/11 era, an American government set objectives that were difficult, if not impossible, for American power, American force to achieve.
Michael Anton is the White House Director of Strategic Communications at the National Security Council.
Some of the critics that we've heard, of course, after the speech have said, if we're not going to nation build, then we're just going to go in and kill people and then just leave?
No, not at all. What we are not doing is trying to impose our way of life, our system of government, trying to insist that a people with a very different tradition live up to expectations that we set from the outside.
It has become America's longest war, lasting nearly 16 years, with hundreds of billions spent and more than 2,400 U.S. forces killed.
I've spent a lot of time in Afghanistan. My brother's still serving on the ground there.
Congressman Brian Mast lost both legs in Afghanistan and now serves in Congress. He's called for more transparency.
How long is it going to take? What is it going to cost? How do we get out of those countries as soon as that mission's accomplished?
For President Trump, though, that is not part of the plan.
We will not talk about numbers of troops or our plans for further military activities.
He suggested the strategy has been flawed up to this point.
The Trump administration insisting the policy moving ahead is decidedly different. But it's one that candidate Trump initially argued against. He said he's had a change of heart since being on the inside of the White House. In Washington, I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
And here's our question of the day. Will President Trump's new approach to the Afghan war lead to victory or defeat or a stalemate? Share your opinion by taking part in our online poll. Head to our Facebook page, Fox 66 News, or WSMH.com/question. It is a great time to be a golf fan in mid-Michigan. After the break, the PGA making its return to mid-Michigan. We'll have more details on what the event will be when next.
Fox 66 Weather is sponsored in part by Hurley Medical Center.
Mike Young's dealing on trucks. We have over 100 units to choose from. With below GM employee pricing, factory dealer incentives, then many other rebates and offers you may qualify for, you're going to save. At Mike Young's, you can get in this GMC Sierra double cab elevation package that has 6-passenger seating, 9,000-pound tow capacity, gets up to 21 miles per gallon fuel economy, all for only $201 a month. Get your new Sierra from Mike Young, Buick, GMC, and Frankenmuth. We will save you money.
The Ford Summer Sales Event is in full swing. Get 0% for 72 months, plus an additional $1,000 on top of your trade-in from America's best-selling brand. Now lease a Ford Edge for just $189 a month. That's only $189 a month during the Ford Summer Sales Event at your neighborhood Michigan Ford dealer.
Act now. Get Xfinity Internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months. Experience speed at a great low price. All for $19.99 a month. Call 1-800-XFINITY and ask how you can get even more speed. Get more than 2 times the speed for just $10 more a month for 12 months. Or 7 times the speed for $20 more a month for 12 months. Compare that to AT&T, and you'll see why Xfinity delivers faster, more reliable internet. Call 1-800-XFINITY or go to Xfinity.com today.
Mark it down, save the date. Do whatever you have to do, but remember this. One day and one day only. Wednesday, 10 to 10 is a full-blown flash sale at Art Van Furniture. Get the lowest price in America. Every sofa, doorbuster priced. Every bedroom and every dining room. Every mattress and everything with an extra 25% off the sale price. Or get 0% for 50 months. The Art Van Furniture flash sale. Hurry, because this sale will be over in quickly.
Invisible, invasive, underestimated. Nematodes are stealing over 10% of yields, and current protection methods aren't enough. But a new seed treatment technology controls nematodes before they attack. Introducing NemaStrike technology. It provides broad spectrum control from the start and stays in the root zone as plants grow. Take back your bushels with NemaStrike technology. Strike where nematodes attack.
The Ford Summer Sales Event is in full swing. Get 0% for 60 months plus an additional $1,000 on top of your trade-in from America's best-selling brand. Now lease a Ford F-150 for just $219 a month. That's only $219 during the Ford Summer Sales Event at your neighborhood Michigan Ford dealer.
Are you in a band or hoping to start one? A new social networking app can help you find people to make beautiful music with. Circa Tech correspondent Dan Bean has more.
If you're a musician in 2017 searching for a collaborator through Craigslist or bulletin board ads in your local coffee shop, well, according to this new hookup app for musical artists, you are looking for love in all the wrong places. It's called Treble, and it just launched this summer. We met with co-founder and CEO Matt Bond at his company's scrappy Brooklyn office apartment to talk about how he's trying to update the music industry's social game.
It's not quite like a Tinder for matching like collaborators. Would you say it's more like a LinkedIn or something?
I'd say that's the better comparison. Yeah. The way we think about it is that it's a community first and a digital platform a second. This is the discovery component. Basically like a music streaming experience, but designed to connect with the people behind the music. You can click through any socials he has, his bio, any of his tracks, yeah. It's like the go-to resume for any artist or music person.
So how do I find if someone has a posting saying, hey, I'm a drummer and I'm looking for a band?
Look up drummer or band or anything of that nature.
So they need a whole band. Yeah. Bass, drums, guitar.
Yeah. We have about 4,000 people using the platform. We spend actually a lot of time building the community really as thoughtfully as we built the product.
And by the way, the Treble team members aren't just the cultivators of the app. Many of them are users too.
As a sax player, I've had opportunities where I've responded to a listing and gotten a gig out of it.
For Circa, I'm Dan Bean.
In consumer news tonight, Johnson & Johnson has been ordered to pay over $400 million in a case involving its baby powder. A jury sided with a 63-year-old woman who says she used the company's baby powder for decades before developing ovarian cancer. The woman testified that if there had been a warning label on the product, she would have stopped using it. Johnson & Johnson has no legal obligation to put such a label on its baby powder, and the company says it will appeal. Panera Bread says it'll start listing the amount of added sugar and calories on its cups for 7 drinks. It is the latest move by Panera, hoping to appeal to Americans who are concerned about what's in their food and drinks. The new cups will be available in 8 cities this week, should be in all of the chain's locations by mid-September. And once again, the Powerball jackpot has gone up to $700 million. Nobody has matched all 6 numbers in over 2 months. The next drawing is tomorrow night at 11. And a reminder, a subtle one, your odds at winning the jackpot, 1 in 292 million.
You're in the game with Fox 66 Sports.
Professional golf returns to mid-Michigan in September of 2018. The PGA Champions Tour will make a stop at Warwick Hills in Grand Blanc, where the Buick Open was held until 2009. Sports Director Tom Eschen shows us how the course will change over the next few months to get ready for the big event.
One of the PGA players' favorite stops is back, this time as a Champions Tour event. But since the Buick Open left in 2009, there might be some familiar faces at Warwick Hills next September, including Mark O'Meara.
Guys that they watched, 10, 20 years ago that can still play really good golf are going to be here. And some of the players that they never got to see before, like Greg McLaughlin pointed out about Bernard Langer, Colin Montgomery, these guys are going to be playing here, so it's going to be very exciting.
Those Buick Open memories include a fun atmosphere, especially on that 17th hole, and set up for scoring.
Hopefully fun. I mean, if you remember back at the Buick Open days, that 17th hole was a blast. So I would like them to come back here and just remember, you know, those PGA days and kind of continue with this Champions Tour.
The greens were always good, and guys, like I said, they can light it up sometimes. So when you have a lead on Sunday, you know, nothing's really secured until you go out there and finish it off and play a good solid round on Sunday. So I think the players always realized that the golf course was always in good shape, and that's something they really look forward to coming and playing.
Now, over the course of the next 13 months, the maintenance crew here at Warwick Hills will be working to get this course back to PGA Tour ready, but you might not see that much of a difference. You see here, this ball laying in the rough just a few feet off the green. You can see the ball, it's not buried, and they say they're not going to make too many changes. So the course you see now is going to be very similar to the course the champions play next September.
A little more beautification, a little more detailing probably. Probably be hiring a few additional crew members. But as far as, you know, maintenance goes, it's going to be pretty much what you're seeing now. I mean, we keep it at tournament, pretty close to tournament standards right now.
You know, it's easier to come back to a venue that's hosted professional golf. And here, generally on our tour, we don't make changes to the golf course. We pretty much show up Monday of tournament week, and the club gets the golf course back the Sunday night, you know, after we're done, and we take the golf course as we find it.
As for scoring, O'Meara said he thinks the Champions player scores will be comparable, if not the same, as when guys like Tiger Woods and Kenny Perry lit it up to the tune of 20 under back in the 2000s. Reporting from Warwick Hills and Grand Blanc, I'm Tom Eschen.
The Yankees' Masahiro Tanaka is coming off the DL for tonight's start. He hasn't seen action since August 9th, and tonight is just his second career start at Comerica. However, he didn't have much of a problem dealing with Detroit. It also helped that the Yankees jumped ahead to a huge lead. Check out this one in the first inning. Gary Sanchez just bombs one way out to left field to score Aaron Hicks. Matthew Boyd allowed 3 runs in the first inning and 4 more in the third, including this Todd Frazier triple that went on to score 2 more. The Tigers did finally take Tanaka out of the park in the bottom of the 7th. Nick Castellanos homers out to right field to score John Hicks. No match for the Yankees tonight, though. Tigers fall 13-4. The Loons return back to Dow Diamond for a 7-game homestand, starting up with a series against the Lugnuts. Tonight they fall 3 runs short, 7-4. Our next stop on our daily high school football Mid-Michigan preseason tour takes us to Michigan Lutheran Seminary, home of Cardinal football. MLS opens the season on Thursday, and they're coming off a state appearance. They say what they learned from their postseason run last year will help them this season. And one of the biggest takeaways is definitely that it pays off to work hard.
It wasn't easy to get there, but when you play as a team, it's a lot easier than it could be.
Yeah, the last 3 years being 31-7, 3 straight district championships, 2 regional championships. The guys now have that feel for what it's like to get that trophy on our home field even, so they want to keep doing that.
10. And also, before we go for the night, a huge trade in the NBA. The Vertical reports that Cleveland and Boston have agreed on a deal to send Kyrie Irving to the Celtics for an Isaiah Thomas package.
Wow,
he asked for that trade,
is a huge trade.
And he got it.
This is an unfair question to a sports person, maybe. But do you talking about the PGA, do you have a love of golf? I mean, I know you know golf, you cover golf, but where does it rank in your really personal interests?
Love watching golf.
Do you?
Love being on the golf course. Not very good at golf. That is how it ranks.
Something tells me I'm going to see you on the 17th hole, right? Partying.
Yeah, I'll watch. I love it. I'm not that good. I'm going to start practicing, though.
We'll be back with your extended forecast with Jamie right after this. And don't forget the opportunity to download our Fox 66 News app when you can. You can get breaking news alerts and the latest information when you're on the go. Just search for Fox 66 in the App Store or the Google Play Store.
Fox 66 Sports Report is sponsored by Mid-Michigan's home of absolutely unbeatable selection, service, and savings. Martin Chevrolet in Saginaw.
Hi, Tim Hart at Hart Buick GMC in West Branch with another sweetheart deal.
Drive the new Buick Encore for $174 a month or GMC Canyon for $299 a month.
Hart Buick GMC, exit 215, West Branch.
You've waited all season long, and the McSoothes Summer Clearance Sale is finally here. Get incredible savings of up to $3,000 on the Midwest's largest selection of spas from the nation's top manufacturers, with luxury spas starting at only $17.99. Plus, take advantage of huge end-of-season blowout pricing on all remaining brand-new out-of-box and scratch-and-dent above-ground pools starting as low as $7.99. Plus 12 months special financing only at the McSoothes Home Store.
Journey where this path may lead, and live as big as giants. Summer sun and feeling free, sparkle just like diamonds.
Freedom awaits you this summer. Hurry in now and get an additional $500 Labor Day bonus cash on most 2017 Jeep brand vehicles. Finance and get an average $7,025 in total values on the purchase of a 2017 Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk.
Once upon a time, a microbiologist named Dr. Shirota shared his discovery with the world. It was a unique strain of probiotic bacteria named Lactobacillus casei shirota, which he used to create Yakult in support of good health. Now, millions of families from east to west help balance their digestive systems with Yakult every day. Here's to you, Dr. Shirota.
I see a football with bat wings.
I see a wizard. That's his nose.
I see Lake Michigan.
Lake Superior.
I see a wall.
Platinum Plus with Stain Shield technology is up to 50% more washable and stain resistant than a leading premium paint. Menards and Dutch Boy have you covered. Go ahead, live your life.
Right now at Menards, get an 11% rebate on everything, including Dutch Boy paint.
Hi, Tim Hart at Hart Buick GMC in West Branch with another sweetheart deal.
Drive a new GMC Terrain for $194 a month or Buick Envision for $297 a month.
Hart Buick GMC, exit 215, West Branch.
Let's see what the midday forecast looks like. Here's the 7-day with Jamie.
Yes, we do have a very autumn-like feel to the air now, moving into mid-Michigan. Certainly people might bring out a little bit of that fall wardrobe. Just see if it still fits, you know.
No
and we'll get back into those warmer temperatures as we get into the next week. A fairly dry pattern there. A beautiful, comfortable weekend coming up.
You won't see sweatshirts in the Harris household till November at the earliest. That's our 10 o'clock report on Fox 66. Thanks for being with us. More news on our sister station, NBC 25 News at 11, just about 4 minutes from right now.
My name is Carlotta.
The name's Cookie. Ask about me.
You and me,
We gotta come together.
that'd be real good.
Man, my life feel gooder than a mother.
We're not going nowhere no time soon.
Empire followed by Star.
Fox Wednesday. Some very special guests.
Crawfish.
Take a bite out of MasterChef.
Wednesday at 8. Watch Fox 66. Mark your calendars. The Fox 66 Fall Festival is back September 16th from 12 to 5 at the Dort Federal Event Center.
Here at Holland Heating and Cooling, we're overstocked. For a limited time, take up to $1,000 off any furnace and AC package with payments as low as $79 a month. Call Holland Heating and Cooling today.
Now at the Honda Summerbration sales event, you can get a great deal on a Honda Fit and kick summer up to a whole new level. Make it a summer to remember at the Honda Summerbration sales event today. Hurry in and get a great deal on a Honda Fit from KBB.com's best value brand at your local Honda dealer.
Your home's mechanical systems are crucial for comfort and safety. And when they go bad, it can be very bad. Goyette Mechanical is the market leader in plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical. Locally owned and based right here, Goyette's skilled technicians are in your area every day and can respond quickly. Bryant high-efficient air conditioning units can save you up to 40% on utility costs. Bryant, whatever it takes. Trust the name that has been servicing Mid-Michigan for over 85 years. Goyette, plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical.
Gotta get Goyette.
Hicks Outdoors Wheelin' Dealin' Weekend Adventure First Edition is here. This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Get ready for hunting season and more. Every gun on sale 10 to 30% off. Every bow on sale 10 to 40% off. Every crossbow on sale 10 to 30% off. 20% off entire fishing department. Low prices throughout the store. This Friday through Sunday, Hicks Outdoors Wheelin' Dealin' Weekend across from the Clio Walmart for epic savings.
Judge us because we're loud. Judge us because we're different. Judge us because we're free. The truth is, we can't hear you anyway.
Get a great deal at the Dodge Labor Day sales event. Right now, get $4,000 total cash allowance on the 2017 Dodge Challenger RT.
I was on the bus.
You're watching Fox 32.
I'm Taylor Jones here in Reed City, where the prosecutor says 3 former employees embezzled money from a big supermarket.
A Sault Ste. Marie man